Welcome friends to my new channel with another video. As always, if you enjoy these videos, please make sure to hit subscribe button. Our story is by throwaway 886,944,379. I, 30F, think someone is spying on me. I know this sounds insane, but please hear me out. I'm starting to become really freaked out and scared. It started about a month ago. I could hear two female voices whispering to each other from time to time when I was in my house. I could hear them in the garage and in my bed. The clearest thing I heard was one night at about 2 a.m. from my bed. She was telling her Gmail address and a phone number. Unfortunately, I couldn't make out every part of it. I got up and my boyfriend was in the garage. I told him what I heard and he told me I was hearing voices and we went to bed. At this point I had told him many times I'd been hearing these whispers. He always becomes angry and tells me I'm hearing voices. Mind you, I have no history of ever hearing voices ever before. I tried to brush it off as maybe it was the wind or maybe I was being paranoid, but I never really believed that. I stopped hearing it for a week or so and just tried to forget about it. My boyfriend, who I will call Matt, ended up going to jail for a probation violation and has to serve 30 days in jail. Since he has been gone, I hear these whispers all throughout the day and especially at night. Last night I heard them talking about my refrigerator. It makes a loud noise when it shuts off. I heard them saying something about our car. Most of what they say I can't entirely make out. I can just hear the distant sound of two people whispering. I have told Matt when he calls and he always become really upset. Last night he actually hung up on me when I tried to bring it up. He keeps telling me I am hearing voices, but I am certain I am not. I haven't called the police. I feel like they won't be able to really do anything and it will make me look crazy. I have tried talking to my mom about it and she doesn't believe it. I have been to the point of tears begging her to please believe me and she doesn't. I've told her twice and I refuse to tell her again. It only makes her think I am totally nuts. Before Matt went to jail I had suspicions he might be cheating on me. There has been a few questionable things that point in that direction. I hate being at home of this. I don't hear these whispers anywhere but at home. I don't understand what is going on. I would think that if there was a recording device or camera I wouldn't be able to hear these people talking. I don't think there are people outside of my house all day and night. I've checked inside the attic and closet in my house. I cry every day when I hear these whispers. I feel helpless. I don't know where it is coming from and nothing really makes sense. I hate to think that Matt has something to do with this. We have been together for 9 years and have a house and kids together. The only thing I can think of is if he is cheating on me, it has something to do with that. He makes me feel bad when I mention it to him by saying, "Do you really think I would do something like that? It's nice to know what you actually think about me." I want to try and record the whispers, but I'm really afraid I won't be able to pick them up. They are so quiet. I am 100% sure I'm not hearing voices. Like I said, I have never struggled with that before. No one in my family has a history of schizophrenia or anything like that. Plus I only hear them at home. I would think that if it was a recording device I wouldn't be able to hear them, so I just don't know. If anyone has any thoughts or suggestions I would appreciate it. I don't know what to do. I feel like I have no privacy in my home and I am really freaked out why someone would do this. I know it makes no sense, but please believe me when I say I'm not hearing voices. Our story is by Lucas Angelic. I told my brother's girlfriend she isn't welcome in our house anymore. My 21M brother, 20M, has been scheming to move his 17F of 2 years into our house for a while. One day he just had her stay the night and she hasn't left for almost 3 weeks now. I'm close with my brother. I've considered his girlfriend a friend, but it's just been too much since she moved in. She doesn't have a job, doesn't drive, doesn't go to school, is online but failing all classes. She won't do it. She's still a teenager, so all that stuff is dubiously important. The real problem is she never cleans up after herself. She trashed our bathroom with hair products when she first moved in and the bathroom is still a mess, no matter how many times I ask them to clean it. Her and my brother make messes with food and leave them out. Usually the kitchen and living room is a mess when my parents and I get home from work and we have to do something about it. My parents both don't want her here, but ultimately my dad avoids her and my mom is kind of spineless and avoids confrontation at all costs. She claims she's had a fight with her mom and that's why she's staying. A fake. Her mom isn't great but isn't abusive and she has a brother my age that I'm friends with and he doesn't have a problem with their mom. She has a home to go to and is just a stubborn and rebellious teen struggling with mental health. I get it, so is I both brother and so are heavy drinkers for their age. They drink daily, her often getting blackout at least once a week. Both are under drinking age and her being a minor and not even a family member makes the entire situation a problem on its own. This is where my tipping point came. Earlier tonight I was making dinner for everyone. I went to have a drink with dinner and it wasn't where I leave my alcohol in the cabinet, it was missing. My brother admitted to taking it and said they only drank a bit. I get it back with half of a new 750ml vodka bottle missing. I'd been gone the night before, so I suppose that gave them free access to my stuff. And it's not the first time they've stolen large amounts of alcohol from me. I got upset and my brother and I argued about it but nothing serious. Then his GF butted in. She obviously had pent-up anger towards me. She picked on me for being an adult still living my parents, for having a min-wage job and not driving, called me all types of insults with seemingly no regard to the fact that she's intruding on my house and my family. I'm almost 5 months sober from drugs and working really hard to improve my life as I've lost 5 years to it. All things I've confided in her and my brother about and they used it against me. I lost it. I let it all out, that she wasn't welcome here, that a relationship my brother was illegal and weird and that she needed to stop trashing our house and go home. After that, my brother has insisted she's staying until my parents say otherwise. I spoke to my dad when he got home and he agreed he didn't want her here but had no interest in doing anything about it. I talked to my mom later when she got home who said she's been trying to get some time alone with him, i.e. without the GF, to talk about her going home and he's been dodging her. I want the best for my brother's GF and generally don't think he's that. He enables her to the fullest extent and she often comes to me about their problems including him cheating on her. She needs to go home, stop drinking, do her schoolwork and go to therapy, all of that he doesn't encourage. Is this a me problem, am I being overreactive, or is my brother and his GF being inconsiderate, is this entire situation messed up, where do I go from here? TLDR. Brother's GF is a slob overstaying her welcome and stole alcohol from me. We got into an argument and I just truly think she needs to leave, but no one is helping me. Our story is by Careful Feed 8588. Is my boyfriend a narcissist? I, F19, have been with my boyfriend, M22, for over a year and we've become incredibly close. We're completely best friends. He was very complimentary and thoughtful and loving at the start and I fear I've been love bombed by a narcissist, seeing as these has been a huge shift. Firstly, I think I might be being physically abused. My boyfriend sometimes kicks me, yanks my hair, and has even chased me with knives leaving a scar on my arm. He plays it off as a joke and isn't angry when he does it as well as playing it off by saying he doesn't do anything hard, but whenever I tell him to stop he doesn't, even when he's made me cry from winding me he laughs. He also just has no respect for me as an individual and my self-worth has certainly been decreasing. Just a couple of examples are if I'm on the toilet and he wants to go he'll physically drag me off, or if his hands are dirty he'll just wipe them on me. Sometimes he'll just shout move at me to get me to move and stuff, these are just a couple of examples. I think he's also disrespectful with how he is with other people. I've seen him send topless pictures and receive bum pictures and played it off as gym progresses pictures. Whenever we're out he'll point out girls to be beautiful and hot and he'll say how things like big boobs are better naked and I don't have any of these attributes. He's even said when we've been sexting he's just been watching lesbian porn to get off to. His vanity and shallowness is also starting to affect my self-confidence. He's constantly talking about looks and how he looks and put so much focus on appearance to the point where he says he can't have ugly friends. He talks about getting filler and taking steroids all the time and now I'm feeling the pressure to be more self-critical too. This is largely driven by him complimenting himself a lot and doesn't seem to with me, which is hurtful given how he compliments random girls to me. Now he says he used to undress me with his eyes but doesn't now. He's so self-absorbed, he almost always talks about himself and how good at music and work he is. He goes on about how unfair the world treats him and how he is desperate to be famous and how good he is at things and that he has a lot to offer and is the best boyfriend etc. Whenever I mention I'm sad or struggling with my self-esteem he says I'm treating him like a diary and gets mad calling me self-centered and selfish. Similarly whenever I think he's done something disrespectful or I feel uncomfortable like how he is flirting with girls under their posts he gets very angry and threatens to leave me, I can't communicate in any way he doesn't like. He constantly tries to silence me and invalidates me. I saw some comments under someone's post whilst we were exclusive and even then he invalidated me saying we weren't together at the time when we definitely were. He has a control response of anger to anything I bring up or question. He always jokes about things I'm insecure about such as my weight, I'm recovering from an ED, and other things like if I have stubbly legs or razor bumps etc. I never know where I am with him. In 1 minute he'll go in a massive mood over nothing and claim nothing's wrong when I try to communicate when something clearly is. He's called me a waste of time, often threatens to end things and says he doesn't care about me etc. When his mum slags me off, sometimes comes on dates with us, treats my boyfriend like her boyfriend and tries to cut me out. He always defends her and calls me rude for saying I don't feel welcome because of how much she doesn't like me. Recently he said he can't be bothered with me and he gets the ick over things I can't control, such as not being able to ice skate and my train being cancelled, trying to keep me on edge by now saying I'm on thin ice and keeps saying he's done with me. He'll talk back on events like I almost left you then. I've been blaming myself for it all, constantly regretting saying things etc. He always says I'm selfish and that I'm the problem. Am I dating a narcissist? Our story is by Throw Valley Forge. My wife, 34F, went to a stranger's house after drinking and now I have 2 completely different accounts of what happened during the night. So my wife and her friend went out drinking on Friday night and she didn't come home till 4 in the morning, which had me worried sick. When she finally came home, she was very drunk and was almost being dragged by her friend. The friend had a guilty look on her face and asked me to be patient while listening to her account. I was of course alarmed. What account? The friend left saying it's better if my wife told me. My wife was obviously out at this point. So I also went to sleep. At around 11 a.m. I am woken up by my wife crying and saying she has committed a horrible mistake and she is very sorry. She was hysterical at this point and I had to calm her down, and finally after calming down she told me that she had gotten so drunk last night that she hooked up with a stranger. I was shocked as you may imagine, so I pressed for details and she said that they had met two guys while drinking and they were buying them rounds. At first she says that she turned the drinks down, but when her friend expressed an interest in one of them, they went to talk and accepted drinks from them. My wife was given the responsibility of keeping the friend of the guy busy while her friend talked to the guy. Eventually after some time and a lot of drinks later they went to the guy's home and this is where she had sex with him. My wife says that she went there just to make sure her friend is safe and she had no ulterior motive. She did admit to some harmless flirting with the guy but said it didn't mean anything, sure. She was adamant that she didn't want to have sex with the guy. Then I said maybe you were forced, let's try to find out who the guy was first. I asked for more details but she again said she didn't remember. So I went to pub in the evening and asked around and luckily the guy my wife's friend hooked up with was there that night too. I talked to him and he painted a completely different picture of the night. He said he and his friend were very clear with both my wife and her friend from the start that they were looking to hook up and my wife or her friend never raised any objection. He also said my wife absolutely knew what was going to happen once they went back to the house. I didn't get to meet the other f***ing guy who hooked up with my wife, but I did talk to him on the phone and he also said the same thing. Both women knew exactly what the deal was and they still went to his house. I did get heated with him, but he insisted he didn't force anyone, he was as drunk as she, and it was completely mutual right from the moment they started talking in the bar. He said I could check the security footage to see how my wife and her friend were acting on that night. I tried but they wouldn't show me the footage without a police report. I don't know what to think here, my wife insists it's not the case, but did admit to flirting with him, those guys insisted was mutual. My wife doesn't want to file any case against them, and I am at a loss. Only one thing is clear to me, my wife put her friend's sexual life ahead of our married life otherwise, why go to a stranger's house after midnight? That is clear to me, even if everything else is a mystery. Any advice on how to move forward?